And welcome back to Real Ag Radio here on the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. And we're joined right now by one of the agronomists with Pioneer Seeds Canada. He's out of St. Paul, Alberta. It's Doug Moisey. Hey, Doug, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for inviting me back, Sean. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Hey, I heard a rumor that you just finished getting all your plots in. Congratulations. That's a big thing.
Yeah. Well, I got my last plot in. I know there's some reps that still got a few left to go, but everybody's scrambling with the rains delaying us. It's really put everybody behind the eight ball. So everybody's pushing a lot of hours and trying to get things done. So
yeah,
it's going to be interesting next 5 to 6 days.
Rain keeps breaking up some of that progress. We've also had some low temperatures at night that I'm sure has sort of touched some of that emerged canola in not friendly ways.
Yeah, and I had our first call here this morning where a guy noticed that he had some browning on the tips of his canola seedlings. And when we started looking at the records, like we were -3 last Thursday up in our area. So if you look at the timelines, we had some pretty cold temperatures till about Sunday. So my suspicion is it is a little bit of frost. It is in patches. So yeah, these cooler temperatures at night, actually last night was probably our first warm night that we've had all spring. So, it's been pretty stressful on the crop. It's been very slow growing. Some canola that was seeded on May the 11th just popped out here on Monday. So it's been in the ground a long time. And that's telling you the temperatures are there. And if you look at the landscape, the trees aren't even fully leaved yet. So it's telling you we've got some cool weather that's still hanging around and still causing some issues. But the outlook now with the warm weather and the dryness, supposedly with the odd shower, is going to allow us to really get some acres in here in the next little while. So it'll be good.
Yeah, we were talking on Monday's show, and you and I were discussing also during the commercial break that we're really going to see, seeding time and spraying just sort of like they're going to fall on top of each other.
Yes, for sure. And one thing as I recommend is that if the guys haven't bought themselves a set of track shoes, they're going to need some because they're going to basically run from the seed drill to the sprayer. Weeds are out. Interesting enough, we have some people that have told us right flat out is that this spring, although they didn't see much for weeds, they sprayed it and they're glad that they did a pre-seed burn because it's really kept a lot of the weeds at bay. Where we just did our last plot at, what I did this morning here, the guy did not do pre-seed and he's going to be finishing his field. He's done seeding for 2024, hopefully, but he's going to basically have the sprayer in there in probably 2 to 3 days because it's getting to be pretty weedy and the weeds are going hard. So there's a lot of weeds up. And the thing reason why I want guys to really jump is that we want that canola coming out in a clean world. It helps with yield. It's not going to slow down nothing. But you got to remember too, is that every time those weeds are up a couple days ahead of the canola, it's eating up that fertility that you've paid for. And it's tying up stuff. And the reason I look at it is that it's costing you yield if you don't have a clean field while there's during emergence. So we really want to make sure guys get on there.
Clean start. Start.
Yeah, clean start. Really good kind of a play on words.
Yeah, exactly. So, we're seeing some activity with flea beetles, cutworms as well, I've been hearing.
Yeah, a little bit of flea beetle activity. We first complained about having to spray or looking at spraying. Don't know exactly where that all went, but that was the first discussion. And this morning here, I got some pictures of some cutworm damage going on. Surprised that they were saying is that why aren't they above ground? Well, you got to remember the different stages, and then you got to look at also is that there are 5 different species of cutworms that we're dealing with basically in Western Canada to different degrees, and some are feeding below ground, some are feeding above ground, but we haven't heard any above ground feeding, but I'm assuming that we're going to start seeing some things happen in the next couple of days now that the warm weather is happening. So it's a myriad of little minor issues. The rain is a blessing for a lot of areas. We had a lot of guys seeding into dust and worried, and now it's coming up. But now here's with the rain, everything else is going to come on like a gang fire. So it's going to tighten up the window for taking care of things in a real quick hurry. So guys are going to be exhausted, but the whole idea is here is that we got to stay on top of it. We've got it going now. So make sure we're staying on top of the insect and the weed game.
Yeah, well, with the moisture we have, if the heat can come here and turn on, we could really blow through that flea beetle period in a very aggressive manner.
Yes. Oh, and I agree 100%. Last night at our place here, we were still 24 degrees at 11 o'clock at night. surprisingly enough, but we had good humidity. That canola plant, even though the sun is basically going down or has gone down, it's still growing. And it's all about heat and temperature. And so we've had some overnight lows here that are going to be in the 14s and 15s. The canola is going to grow all night long, basically, except for a couple hour rest breaks. So we could see some real rapid growth. And that's what I'm saying is that you'll get the rapid growth of canola to blow through the flea beetles, but the weeds that are in your field are going to be doing the same thing. So it's going to be a race. So,
and there's a lot of tasks to work in at this time of the year, especially when we have the season kind of feeling really very, very condensed operationally. Emergence scouting, doing some of those plant stand counts. How did it work out? And it allows you to kind of game plan with more information for the rest of the season.
Oh, I agree. To me, especially after you do first pass, get out and do your plant counts. Look at what your survivability, because the question we get every year is, what seeding rate should I go at? And I know within us, we use a standard 70% survivability, but the guys that seed after the rain, we're probably going to be 80, 90. Now, the reason why I want to know what you need to be at is that what is your survivability? What kind of plant counts? But it helps you to determine what's your potential seeding rate for the next couple of years. Is that, okay, under these conditions, what's my survivability? But it also allows us to get a handle on is that what's our game plan? If we're at 8, 9 plants per square foot, okay, if we continue to be wet, we're probably going to be dealing with sclerotinia. We have to start thinking about what is the 30, 60, 90-day kind of thing that's going to happen. And so for me, that plant stand count tells me what my next 30 days are going to be like. And if I'm on the edge of plant stands, maybe I'm down to 4 or 5, okay, that tells me I just can't say, okay, well, there's a little bit of flea beetle damage. Maybe I got to be right on there.
Yeah. Hey, Doug, this week I've been asking all the farmers kind of a business question in terms of 2020 hindsight. Hey, what I made this decision. What the heck was I thinking in retrospect? Do you have one agronomically that you want to share with us that over your career you can think of?
Oh, my career or just the season?
Well, just the season, maybe. I don't know. Anything that comes. What comes to mind
Well,
first?
Hindsight being 2020 is that, and I try to stress this to every one of our customers, is that the decision on seed depth, the decision on seeding rate is a game day decision. It's not black and white. And that's one thing I'd really like to stress to a lot of guys is that you're pulling into the field that day. It's going out, maybe do a couple of moisture probes, see where your moisture is, make that decision, look at the weather. Those are the 3 key things I think in hindsight 2020, if I could get that across to every customer dating back to the number of years I've been in this game, it's just to realize it's a game day decision. Sort of like, when an injured hockey player is getting ready to the ice, it's a game day decision. And so to me, it's that seeding rate is just not, it's 5 pounds.
Yeah.
And then it's adjusting the seeding rate because today's hybrids love that 6 to 8 plants per square foot. When we start getting into 10 and 11, we start creating ourselves some issues just as much as 3 and 4. So it's finding that sweet spot and just figuring out how to do it. So that's sort of my hindsight is that the game day decision thing, if that's the possibility.
Makes a lot of sense. Hey, Doug, thanks a lot for joining us today on Real Ag Radio.
Appreciate it. Thanks for inviting me. Have a good one.
Great stuff. One of the best when it comes to agronomic information. That is Doug Moisey, agronomist with Pioneer Seeds Canada. If you have any feedback on today's show, send me an email, shaney@realagriculture.com. Or, of course, you can always find Real Agriculture across all the social media platforms or call the Real Ag feedback line, 855-776-6147. And, of course, thank you to Pioneer Seeds Canada for being the exclusive sponsor of the Farmer Rapid Fire. Appreciate everybody getting real and getting connected with Real Ag Radio. We'll, of course, chat again tomorrow. Cheers, everybody.